Clip 1. Terror attack in Boulder, Colorado.
Here we go.
The FBI is investigating what is being called a targeted terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. The alleged attack happened at a mall in between 13th and 14th Street. That's in downtown along Pearl Street in downtown Boulder. We're hearing from the FBI Director, Kash Patel, calling it a targeted terror attack. We're also hearing just moments ago from the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, who says he is closely monitoring the situation in Boulder. His thoughts go out to the people who have been injured, impacted by this heinous act of terror. Details are just coming in. Our local Denver Fox affiliate KDVR telling us that around 3 p.m., some sort of device exploded in what was an organized walk of a group that is pro-Israel that was walking in support of the hostages still held in Gaza.
So it's worth noting that this attacker, before this attack happened, there was a protest from one of the pro-jihad, quote unquote, pro-Palestine groups in the Boulder, Denver area, calling for its fans to go. And they had a post on Instagram with a drawing of a woman throwing a Molotov cocktail, right? So these organizations, some funded by Qatar usually, who funds Hamas, are inciting people to throw Molotov cocktails. And then somebody actually does throw a Molotov cocktail. The terrorist in this account, I think his name was Mohammed Suleiman. And I read somewhere, I don't know if this is verified, that he moved from Qatar to the United States 2 years ago under the open border policy of Biden. I don't know if those details are confirmed, but that is something that I have read. Yeah, this gets back to the whole issue of basically closing the borders, but also removing people who don't fit into American culture, who don't appreciate Western values. Because if they're an antithesis, if their belief system is an antithesis to the values, let's just say Judeo-Christian values, or I'm not a religious person, but even if you say agnostic of values that make America as special as it is, then these people should not be welcome and they should be deported. Like we're going to cover soon in Europe, like it is basically getting too late. And Elon Musk has been mentioning a number of times that it's starting to seem like the only possible outcome for Europe is a civil war, because when invaders try and come to invade and conquer your land, and unfortunately they've been let in and imported and put up in fancy hotels on taxpayers' bills, including in the UK. Literally, they've been put up in castles on taxpayers' dimes, and these people hate the United Kingdom. They hate the United States. They hate the West. It's not about colonialism. It's not about anything. It's about the values that these Western societies hold dear. And it's about the fact that the vast majority of these quote unquote immigrants, quote unquote refugees, which they're not, they're invaders, but they believe in values that are very different. They believe in conquering all of Earth for Muhammad and for Allah's sake. And that is something that is just utterly incompatible with Western values.
So that's really the reason that the Trump administration used the Insurrection Act of 1807 or whatever it was, because basically the idea was that the country is being invaded. We just had some 20 million people be let into the country without really being vetted. And then we have all these district courts now trying to interfere and prevent deportations. But ultimately, yes, the gentleman, using the term loosely, who suspect, was, the latest information is that he came in under the Biden era programs. He ultimately got a work visa. The visa expired and he's still here. And he really is here illegally at this point. And I guess not only is he here illegally, but he really didn't want to. He doesn't love where he's at. I don't know why anyone would go to another country that they hate, other than if perhaps they have an idea of doing some harm to the people there. I mean, the whole thing is just mind-boggling that somebody living here who came under whatever status to this country isn't embracing the country and trying to be a positive force for the country's good and the other people living here, not to go in. So apparently what he did in the videos we saw and the reporting we saw, he used Molotov cocktails. So he basically lighted up these things and threw them at people and set them on fire. The initial reports of people
Followed the instructions on the poster he saw that called him to go there.
So we're not posting that, but yeah, I saw that as well, just for our audience. The poster basically depicts going and essentially having
About the counter protest for this event.
might have been. They do show someone holding a bottle that's essentially a Molotov cocktail on fire, what have you. And it's almost like they're giving instructions or hints as to what they expect people to do. This just happened, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this and what he admits to. But the bottom line is this is insanity. You're trying to burn people alive, people you don't even know. They've done nothing to you. So we'll see.
Women supposedly were injured in this attack.
Yeah, and initially the early reporting by the chief of police in Boulder was essentially downplaying that this wasn't necessarily terrorist attack and what have you. But let's play the next clip. The FBI is at least being a little more honest on the tail end of their initial press release. Here we go.
I'm able to confirm there are 6 victims, ages 67 to 88. All of them have been transported to local hospitals. This attack happened at a regularly scheduled weekly peaceful event. Witnesses are reporting that the subject used a makeshift flamethrower and threw an incendiary device into the crowd. The suspect was heard to yell "Free Palestine" during the attack. The subject has been identified as Mohammed Sabri Solomon, and he's 45 years old. The FBI is processing the crime scene and the subject vehicle and interviewing key witnesses. We're assisting Boulder Police in providing technical, analytic, and additional forensic resources. As a result of these preliminary facts, it is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
So do we have the following video of somebody who was there and started yelling at the victims?
We have all those videos coming up. So we have the videos that were all cell phone videos that were taken on site. We'll go through that and we'll cover that as well. So we'll keep going through them. It's just frankly shocking, really, that this is happening. The next video basically shows it's one of the initial videos that came out, which shows people coming up to the scene, and it shows literally see just the magnitude of smoke coming up from the fires that were caused by this. So that this very next video kind of sets the theme of what the people were experiencing that were in the crowd watching this. Let's go ahead and we'll put that up, and then we'll move towards putting the one you're just mentioning. That was another pretty odd reaction. I think that warrants some discussion as well. But this is what people were seeing at the scene at a short distance away.
Where's Austin gone?
Stay.
So the guy, you see without the shirt in this video, the sunglasses, he's holding 2 Molotov cocktails, 2 bottles, and they got like things coming out the top. When I first saw this video, because this is one of the early videos that came out, I had no clue that guy had anything. He was just a bystander.
He looks like a victim, being shirtless and all
I
after
don't know
an
what's
attack.
going on. Yeah, he might have.
And the bottles almost look like bottles of water because alcohol is clear. So it's like maybe he's wanting to pour water on the fire, on the victims of the fire. But it turns out that those were Molotov cocktails. Thankfully, he was arrested with those 2 Molotov cocktails in his hands. I'm pretty sure it doesn't seem he had a chance to ignite them and throw them as well, because the carnage could have been even worse. I think in this FBI clip you played earlier, that you mentioned everybody was elderly, or did I mishear?
I think a lot of this is still unfolding as far as the information they're releasing. We'll know in a few days. I think more, certainly the totality of those injured and so forth. The very next video actually shows him just shortly before he was arrested, carrying those 2 bottles, and you can see there's like the red like ribbon or something coming off the top, which would be typically what you'd light to set these things off. And even when I first saw this video, I didn't know what he was holding. Like you and I discussed, it looked almost like spray bottles until we thought about what it really looks like. And let's take a look at him, just going back and forth. To your point, as the crowds came up to render aid, this guy could have done more harm because people were focused on helping those that were injured. And for whatever reason, luckily this guy didn't set off any more of these things. but it does show just the danger all of us have just being out in the community.
Be sure to watch our other clips and shorts and the entire uncensored episode 13 of The Yojo Show.